This is going to be pretty awesome. So we actually, we had a cancellation for this upcoming Munch and Mingle, and we brainstormed what could we do. And we said, well, listen, why don't we, our whole goal here is to help business owners in the Fall River and area. And again, not just to survive, but to thrive. So why don't we grab a bunch of successful professionals and bring them all together and let them share their greatest idea. What has been best to that? My camera's all over the place here. What their number one tip for success is. It's going to be very candid. There's not going to be any sales pitch here. It's going to be strong, solid advice. And the people that we have on this panel today, they had to meet some very strict criteria. First and foremost, they had to have a successful track record. All right. They have to have experience and be successful. The other is they had to be independent. Now, I've been in the industry for a while, and this is going to be part of my talk, but really the independent advice is usually, and everybody on this panel has their client's best interest in mind. They're not serving an institution. So being an independent was very important. And it just happens to be that they're all FRAPA members. So this shows the strength of our association right here, the pros that are actually part of this association. So pretty powerful. What is going to take place today? Each of these professionals are going to have 5 minutes. Well, you're going to have 7 minutes. At the 5 minute mark, I'm going to put my hand up. And at 7 minutes, you're going to be cut off. You're going to be switched over, but you're going to introduce who you are, why you're awesome. And listen, I know as Maritimers, we like to be humble. You don't need to be humble here. Share why you're awesome, and then share your number one tip for what's been successful to you or what's been successful to your clients. After that, we're going to, I've got you guys in order. I'm going to start off, and then we're going to have 2 minutes for people to either rebut or finish their comments. Maybe they disagree with what one of the professionals said, or maybe we're all in agreement. Maybe we all have the same number one tip. Who knows, right? This is a big surprise to all of us. So it's going to be very, very just a conversation. And then we'll save the Q&As for the end. And then if we have enough time, we'll do a little Munch and Mingle where we get to meet everybody that's on the call. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. So let me take this away. And I'm going to be sharing everybody's LinkedIn profile on the screen so you know how to contact them. So my name is Steve McClellan, born and raised in Antigonish, been living in Fall River for, it's coming up on 8 years. And I own a value-based financial firm. So where we really focus on our clients' vision, values, and goals, we don't push products. It's really, our plans are based on your needs and what you want. And my number one solution or number one tip to be more successful or to get to that next level is simply stop trying to do it all on your own. The power of association it's a real thing. It's really powerful, and you need to surround yourself with professionals that have your best interests in mind. And as I mentioned, everyone on this call here right now, the presenters, they're all independent. We all know nice people at the banks. They're very kind. They're, some of them are my friends. But just even ask yourself if they always did what was best for you. If they served your purpose versus the purpose of the institution, what would happen to that person? They wouldn't last very long, would they? They'd be fired pretty quick. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with professionals that have your best interests in mind and that have a true, proven track record. Now, with the power of association, so I'm sure you know this rule. If you're a non-smoker, but then you spend the majority of your time with 4 smokers, what's eventually going to happen? You're probably going to start taking up smoking cigarettes, right? Well, the same thing can be with success. If you're surrounding yourself with 4 people that are successful, it's going to take you to that next level. But at the same time, if you're surrounding yourself with people that are doing better than you all the time, and not to sound elitist, you know what I mean, you're going to become overwhelmed. So I love the rule of thirds. And this is where you spend a third of your time with the people that are doing better than you. So whatever you want, if you want to make more money, you want to be more successful, if it's your marriage, spend 33% of your time with those that are doing better than you with that goal. Then spend a third of your time with those that are very similar to you. And then a third of your time with the people that you can actually bring up. Kind of the rule of the third. So the power of association, stop trying to do it all on your own. Surround yourself with professionals that can help you grow and that have your best interest in mind. And the rule of thirds. How's that? All right. So moving on. That's my number one tip. We're going to go on with Scott Gannon. He is co-founder of First Wealth Advisors. Scott, I will bring you up on the screen, and you got the conch for a max of 7 minutes.
Okay, that's probably would have been one of the questions I should have asked was, did you already draw for the order? Okay, so my number one tip is to, for business owners, and if you're not, I mean, like myself, I'm already incorporated, but I always encourage people to incorporate sooner than they plan to. There's a number of reasons why, and I'll kind of go into them. Generally speaking, a lot of people suggest that you should not incorporate until you're actually not spending all your income. And for the most part, that's probably true. But at the same time, there's other factors that go into it. And I'll just kind of go through these one by one. And again, Steve, watch my time, as I do have that ADD quality that can get me on tangents. So number one is controlling your income. When you have all your money going into the corporation, you can control how much you take out from an income standpoint. If you're not incorporated, obviously everything that comes in has to fall on your tax return. There's other ways that you can control your income beyond that as well, and that is through like you can actually defer some of the income. Like for instance, what I do every single year is I do not take any dividends out of my company between November and December. If I have to go into a personal line of credit, I do in those last 2 months, and then I pay out a big dividend in January. That defers it for a year. Secondly is shareholder loans. So you can actually borrow money from your corporation, and you have up to, Karen may be able to correct me on this if I'm wrong, I believe it's 2 filing years to pay it back. I think that's how it works. So if you did it in December, you would really only have about a 13 months or that sort of thing. But if you did it in January, then you'd basically have 2 years before you'd have to pay it back. That's the big thing. And the big word in that whole tip is control. I'm an advocate. Actually, geez, Steve, I already realized what I messed up here is I didn't introduce myself. I guess you kind of introduced me anyway. I didn't. You told me to tell them why I'm awesome. I guess I'll finish with that. So number two is you can choose whether you want to be involved with this and participate in CPP. So the Canada Pension Plan, for better or worse, I kind of look at it as somewhat a bit of a Ponzi scheme, in that it was always designed for a single income family. So that, you know, at least you have 2 lives to rely on that you may be able to get maximum benefits out of. So you could contribute to that all your life. And if you're a couple and you're both maxed out and one of you passes away right after you start drawing, that money's gone for all intents and purposes, because the maximum any survivor can get is the maximum of a single person. So if you're both maxed out, that money's gone. So you might contribute, you know, 4, 5, 6, 800,000, whatever that number is over your lifetime, and that money's gone. So I incorporated it when they finally let my business do it in 2002, and I haven't made a CPP contribution since. I take all dividends. Now, right or wrong, there's different opinions on that, how to do that depending on age and so on as well. But from my perspective, I'd rather control my money. Again, that control word's coming out again, rather than having somebody else control it, like the CPP administrators. Number 3 is building credibility and credit as a business. So and this goes back to, this is kind of tying in with point number 4, which is potential control liability, is when you separate yourself from your business in the way of like a corporation is a separate entity or a separate person in and of itself from a tax perspective. But also when you go to try to, borrow money from a bank or whatever, you're always like, starting off, you're going to have to give personal guarantees. But if you establish a track record as a business and you're incorporated, then now you can start separating some of that personal liability from your corporation. And what, and the benefits for that aren't always seen. Like a lot of it too is about taking risks. Like a lot of people will hesitate to take a risk if they know that the personal liability is there. And I'm not saying you take risks willy-nilly, but at the same time, maybe that risk is a little easier to take if you know it's not going to affect you personally if it doesn't go right. So it's something to think about. So that kind of covers point number 3 and 4. The fifth one, so the fifth and sixth one are kind of, they kind of revert back, like these are things that I help people with, but they're very definite benefits in my mind. And point number 5 is the health spending account. I don't know if any of or all of you are already aware of a health spending account, but it's a very handy tool as a corporation for your own benefit. So you have a family at home and you have health expenses that aren't covered by a health plan. In fact, actually your health plan can be used through this as well, but you can actually have your company pay it and it's deductible to the company. So for all intents and purposes, all your health expenses that qualify will become tax-free. Yes, there is, when you're filing personally, there is that funny little calculation that happens in your tax return that you max out on if you spend a lot on healthcare, but it's not nearly as good as tax-free. So, I'm getting up there already. Am I? Thanks, Steve. So, and the health spending account can cover your health plan. It can cover the assured access, which is another benefit that, you can have personally as well. And I encourage you to talk to myself or Steve or anybody that's in that world. Assured access is an absolute, or Nicola, is a great thing to have because it ensures your insurability. And of course, any out-of-pocket expenses fall under the health spending account. And lastly, is it gives you the ability to control your savings. So if you fall under under $500,000 of profit, your operating tax, corporate tax is 11.5%. So your savings ability, you're saving with 88.5 cent dollars. And what I mean by that is every dollar that you have profit sitting in the company, it's taxed at 11.5%. So the rest of it you can use. So you can use that for your savings and leave it inside the company. Whereas if you take it out, you could be dealing with as little as 47.3 cent dollars. Why? Because if you're in a 52.7% tax bracket, then it's going to cost you 52.5 cents on the dollar to take a dollar out to turn around and put it in a savings account or an investment or whatever. If you keep it in the company name, you will be able, basically it slashes your tax for savings. And there are ways to protect it inside the company as well, which is really where I'm going with this. And I'll finish off very quickly. What makes me awesome goes back to that saving within the corporation, and I help people do that. I use I'm gonna say this. I'm laser focused on how people can save money inside a company and be able to use it to their advantage forever. That's me. I'm Scott Gannon.
That's awesome. All right. I hope you guys took some notes there, because as much as I hate to say it, I agree 100%, Scott. Bang on.
Thank you.
All right. And good timing.
No rebuttal on that.
Nope. All right. Number 3 on my list that was randomly picked is Nicola Wood. Nicola Wood, you got the conch. Take it away.
Gonna wait to see what my my LinkedIn profile looks like. I don't know if I've updated it lately. So I Good. I've been I'm in the financial services, but on kind of the different end of financial services. And that's my key focus is on actually the employee health and dental benefits that employers offer to benefits or offer to their employees. I've been doing health and dental benefits probably 26 years now. I started in 1996. I worked for a large insurance company for 15, almost 16 years out in Vancouver, moved to back to Nova Scotia in 2013. And at that time, I decided to get my license so then I could actually sell the products versus managing it. So I was very fortunate a few years ago, probably about 6 years ago, that I was introduced to a gentleman, Rod Dickey, out of REM Investment Group. And together we manage employee group benefits plans for mostly non-for-profit organizations around Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada, but also long-term care homes. So one of the key things about wanting to offer a group benefits plan to your employees is, given in today's what's happened in the last 18 months, is that you're trying to retain and attract new employees. A lot of the time when you're trying to look for a new employee, and you can see a lot of for hire signs out there, you can just drive down the street and you see hiring, hiring, hiring. A lot of times those employees, they're going to be looking and asking you, what do you have for me besides salary? But do you offer a benefits plan? What are your benefits that you're offering for us? So it's really important that you consider offering something to your employees, because one, you're going to be able to retain those employees. And second, you're going to probably have a happier and healthier workforce working for you in the long run. Some of the other important things about having a group benefits plan, it will improve the employees' appreciation and loyalty to you within the workforce, but also outside of the workforce, because when they go home in the day, they have families, they have children, they have things going on, and 24/7, they have, anything could happen to them. There could be an accident, there could be a sickness in the family. And if you're there to provide a benefit to those employees that's going to help them outside of the work, then you're obviously going to have a employee that obviously is going to want to stay with you for the long term. The other key thing about having a group benefits plan is it's tax effective. With regards to, it's a tax-free benefit to the employee, but it's also a tax write-off for the employer. The employer is to pay a portion of the premiums. It's usually a 50-50 split between the employee and employer, but the employer can write off those premiums that they're contributing towards the group plan. Today, there are so many different plan designs, flexibility with the group benefits that are out there. Scott had mentioned like the HSA, the health spending account. Those can be put together with a traditional group plan, and you can really budget around what fits within the budget of your company, but also what will also benefit for the employee in the long run. So it's no one plan design fits all companies. It's something that you really need to sit down, decide what is most important for the employees, what can we offer them to help manage their ongoing things. So in the last few years, there's been quite a few benefits that have been added, things like critical illness benefit, which is where an employee, if they become sick with a critical illness, they can receive a tax-free lump sum of a dollar amount. So if there's no disability on the plan, that's a lump sum money that can help with them if they're having to take time off work, where if they don't have EI for long term, they have some additional monies to help them out. Some of the other benefits are employee family assistance programs, which really helps with the well-being of employees, such as stress level for employees and their families, and their better wellness for them as well. Other benefits that you can add would be like the short-term and long-term disability. So income replacement in the event that employee becomes disabled. And it's nothing to do that, it's 24/7. So even if they became disabled, from its illness, they're going to have the coverage versus being, having an accident at work, which will be covered by WCB if that is covered by the employees. So some of the other benefits are second opinion, where if someone is critically ill and have been diagnosed with something, they would have access to world-class doctors that will give them a second opinion and would help with the treatment and the ongoing of process of the employees. And another great couple of great benefit in the last few years, and especially the last 18 months, which a lot of our clients have found beneficial, is virtual doctor. And what a virtual doctor is, especially in Nova Scotia, where pretty much 70% of the people don't have a family doctors, virtual doctor is available 24/7, 365 days a year, where they can actually call up and speak to either a licensed practitioner nurse or a doctor and get a prescription for, any non-narcotic drugs they can prescribe to you. And you can even renew prescriptions with them and get referrals for physiotherapy, anything that you need for that, or any other counseling services. And most plans are starting to offer that now. And it's really important for the employees, especially when they don't have to take time off work and sit 4, 5, 6 hours in a waiting room to try to go see someone. If it's just something that they just need an antibiotic for, it can be done. And then prescriptions sent to the doctors, to your pharmacists, and you just on your way home pick up the prescription for that. I'll just wrap it up quickly here. If there's any information that anybody's interested in looking at, I can certainly help them out. And again, group benefits plans, they're available for one employee up to multiple employees. So there's a lot out there that's available now. And yeah, that's that.
All right. Awesome, Nicola. Right on time. 5 seconds left. So you maximize that. And it's amazing how much has changed in the health and dental benefits in the last couple of years, and why it's so important to have an independent advisor like Nicola and the other ones on the board here, because they're not just selling you one thing. They have access to a bunch of different things and can make a best fit for you. And I love, did you guys see Louise McDonald's comments on there about Nicola? It comes highly recommended. So there's some chatting going on. Read those. All right, number 4, Karen Chasse, owner of Burma Consulting Group. You have 7 minutes, Karen. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you for pronouncing Chasse right, but it is BIMA Consulting. Sorry, I had to correct that. I've corrected Chasse for a very long time. So thank you, Steve, again. I also want to thank the other participants. When Steve asked me to do this, I thought he was talking about the 5 tips. I'm like, 5 tips, okay, I'll come up for one. So I had all 5 tips, and then he said, everyone's going to do a tip each. I'm like, oh, for the love. So I thought, that's fine, I can handle this. I just want to say, BIMA Business Consulting, what we do is bookkeeping and consulting. Our main job is keeping you on the right side of the tracks. My number 1 tip to any business owner is ironclad record keeping. So if CRA comes a knocking, you present your books, they're happy, they sniff, they move on. That's exactly what I want my clients to experience. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I also work for Chasse & Associates. I work a lot of in tax season. Of course, I do income tax with Chasse & Associates, but BIMA does not do income tax because Chasse & Associates is owned by my husband, who is a CPA, and I don't want to directly impact his business, because you know who they're going to come to if they want personality. So that's my number 1 thing. Yes, Deborah, I see you laughing. So I guess let's talk about how you're going to have this record keeping. I know that I see it all. I see people, they have little scraps of paper, they've got their bank statement, and they look at it and think, now what do I want to do? I'll do that next month. I can do 2-3 months at a time. 6 months down the road, we're still looking at these bank statements and credit card statements. Now our pile of invoices are like this. Some are in the console in our car. Some might be underneath your desk because they fell, or like they're everywhere. So, like I said, I've seen all kinds of situations. We're all human. You'll find receipts in the console of my car. Absolutely. But knowing how to bring it all together, and it's a peace of mind. So by the end of the month, if you decide I'm going to get this done and realize, and truthfully, when I tell you, it doesn't get any better. It's a very dry experience. It's not fun. Nobody likes to do it, except for people like me. Again, there's a certain personality. But here are a few things. People use Excel spreadsheets. I get it. That's perfect. It's time to go into the next step, software. If you use a software and you get your books done on a monthly basis, you have the power to see where you're at, where your business is at. You can run timely reports, your profit and loss report. You can say, oh, wow, I made this money. This is great. But look at the expenses. And you can actually see where you're at. It really makes your business healthier, and it will really help you with peace of mind. So a couple of software tips. QuickBooks Online, there's Xero. There's a number of different softwares you can use. We actually, as a company, I do teach people how to use the software. If you're not interested in having your books done by an outside source, I can help you with that, get you set up, send you in the right direction. One thing that I offer to my clients is Dext. Dext is a game changer when it comes to receipts. Every year, businesses lose so much money on the bottom line because receipts are lost, not accounted for in some way. And you think to yourself, you go to the gas station, you pick up gas, you go to lunch with a client. These are little receipts. They're this big. After a year, maybe even less, that gas receipt, that receipt from a restaurant is not going to be readable. If you can take a picture of that as you get it, or when you're reconciling your monthly bank statement, it goes right into Dext, and that is saved. It's CRA compatible. So if CRA is looking for something, you can actually, there's so many different ways you can do an Excel spreadsheet, you can download it. And when you do that, the actual receipt, you holding that receipt with your taking your picture, is there. CRA accepts that. Now, if you don't want to, like I said, I offer that to my clients, but if you wanted to do this yourself, there are other ways you can do it. QuickBooks Online, there is an option to take pictures of your receipts. It's not as detailed as Dext, however, it does the trick. Again, the whole thing is getting your mindset and realizing that if you don't keep good books, I can guarantee you, you are throwing money out the window every year in your business. It's all about making sure that when you have your revenue, you have your HST, you want to be able to claim your expenses against that. Because I know, as you know, if you give the government your money that you worked hard to get, they're going to waste it. So that's your choice. You really, really have. I can't stress it enough. Don't give the government money that you worked your butt off to get. So I guess really, that's my big thing. My tip is to have good record keeping, use a software, because that will really help your life. Other than that, that's it. I hear some of the other professionals talking about incorporating. Thank you, Scott. I did that last week. It was probably one of the smartest things I've done so far within my business. But I am the type that will sit at night and say, how can I have a good year and not give the government my money? It's just a personality trait, but that's how I think. So I always
Awesome,
use my
Karen.
personality traits to help others and to help clients. And my biggest thing is my clients, I treat them as if it was my business. So if you have dollars you're losing, I'm going to find it and we're going to make sure that the government doesn't get your money.
Awesome. Awesome,
you.
Karen. I don't think that's just your trait. I think that's a business owner trait of wanting, we work so hard for what we're not just, I'm not going to bash government employees or anybody, but I am. We work hard for every dollar we bring in. And there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of celebrations here too. And yes, we live in a great country, but man, CRA is not your friend. And I saw a lot of head shaking while you're giving this chat, especially from Scott and myself. I've got a shoebox of receipts. And if you could type down that text, what that actually is in the chat, so we can all benefit from that, that'd be awesome. All right, 5th on our list, Anna Marie Hubbard, owner of Copa HR Consulting. You have the conch for 7 minutes total. Take it away.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Steve. I'm Anna Marie Hubbard. I am the president owner of Copia HR, and I'm a member of the Fall River community. My biggest tip to any business owner is be willing and open to embrace change. I know that's a very difficult task for many people to embrace changes, but we deal with HR. People are the number one and the most expense companies will have. However, human resources has evolved from being an administrative function to strategic function. And therefore, we need to be able to embrace change. The reason for that big change has actually happened because there's a considerable lack of talent worldwide. The workforce demographics has changed drastically, and the demand from employees are forcing employers to take a look at how they work with employees and what they offer employees. So change is on the horizon every day within the workplace. Not only did we have changes coming prior to COVID, but COVID-19 has made an impactful change on how we work, where we work, and what we want from employers. We had COVID-19, and we also had a lot of social pressures that came from the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matters and other social change initiatives such as those. Along with that, our employers are just struggling to keep afloat. But change is knocking at our door. Every day we hear, how do I acquire talent? How do I retain talent? What does engagement look like? What is diversity in the workplace? Now I need to be inclusive, and coming down the pipeline is psychological health and wellness. And that is going to be falling right in the laps of all our employers. So how do we embrace change? Align your business plans to your people objectives. They have to be strategically aligned. We can no longer have a business plan to grow without a people strategy. People strategy is vital right now in where we're going to grow, how we're going to grow, what we're going to do with people. Look at your compensation. Really look at what the value an individual is bringing to your business. Look at the value, and then how do we compensate for value? Not just to be market competitive, but the compensation as an entire package, above salaries, including your benefits, perks that we give them. Make sure that you understand compensation really well, because compensation helps to retain and engage individuals. Prepare your staff for change. Upscale to make sure, upskills to make sure that they understand where you're going, and you're training and developing people for growth. Training and development is a part of engagement as well. It also retains people. many times our companies realize they believe that if I upscale an individual and I upskill them, they're going to leave. No, they are going to stay with you longer if you offer them more. So prepare your people for change. Prepare the workforce for change in the demographics. That's a huge one right now in the workplace. People have to be prepared for diversity. People have to be prepared to be more inclusive. And that takes a lot of change. That's an entire change management that we have to focus on in ensuring that we can grow through people. And get a change manager. If you're really not sure how to go about making changes in the workforce, work with a change manager. Oftentimes as small businesses, it's really difficult for us to find the skill levels that we need. We can't bring them all on board always, but within our own communities, there are a lot of people who have the skills to help you grow your business, to help you manage people, to help you manage change within your organization. There's more changes coming this year than ever. We have the Privacy Act that is going to be changing, impacting employers. And as I said earlier, psychological health and wellness in the workplace is coming down the pipeline rather quickly. Once that law changes, it's how we're going to change our workplace. Therefore, be prepared for change and be open to embracing change wherever you can. Don't be afraid. Look for new ways to work. Look for new ways to engage with your people. Look for new ways to how they work, not just what they do, but how do they do it? Because it's through change that we grow. It's through change that we manage our business more effectively and we become more competitive. Thank you all. I'm done. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Wow, great job. 5 minutes. Listen, out of all these 5 speakers, I've already taken 2 pages of notes. And what we're going to do back now, we're going to go backwards. I'm going to give each speaker 2 minutes. Do you agree with what the other speaker said? Do you disagree? And leave a closing moment. So Anna Marie, you've got 2 minutes to kind of give the final word.
Do I agree with that? What the other piece?
Yeah. What did you like? What
yes,
didn't you like?
I certainly
If there's
do.
anything.
I especially agree with Karen because it's like speaking to all entrepreneurs. We're great at what we do. We're horrible with accounting. We're horrible with keeping track of anything, you know, so I'm certainly in agreement with that. In regards to what Nicola said, benefits is a huge part of employment. It's going to become being a competitive employer. Looking at benefits for your employees is going to be a game changer for many. Small businesses struggle, but you know, there's many ways to contain costs and still give your employees a benefit plan. And definitely, it is definitely a retention and engagement tool. And we have to focus on engaging and retaining employees. So definitely benefits is vital. I'm an incorporated company, so along with Scott, I say, yes, I definitely see the benefits of being an incorporated company. I think it protects us very well. And, you know, what you said, Steve, about being able to engage with people in your community that you trust and have your best interest is so vital for small businesses. We don't have a lot of dollars like the larger firms to just run out and find the resources we need. We need to find the resources that we trust can accomplish what we need within the dollars that we have. So yes, I do. I did appreciate this whole session. Thank you all, and thank you all for the information that you shared with us today.
Okay, just awesome. Karen, same with you. 2 minutes to kind of summarize what you heard, if you agree, disagree, or if you wanted to add anything to it.
Well, actually, I really thank Anna Marie. I really believe in change. When I look at our accounting world, technology is taking over. And if you don't stay on top of it, and if you don't continually be open and want to learn, it's just, you're going to be left behind. And it's not just in that fact. I actually sit and work in a building where there's 3 accounting firms, and I see it. I see the retention, and it's extremely difficult to retain staff. And with my clients, I do a lot of ROEs. Lately, it has been like crazy, because they're like taking staff from other work sites, and it's just so hard to keep staff. And when I look at some of the dollar values and the hourly rates that you have to charge, you have to pay in order to get staff, it's very difficult on small businesses to be able to retain that. And I do, like I had mentioned before, I just incorporated, so I wholeheartedly agree with Scott's comments. And with Nicola, I know she's helped me with other clients that we have in mutual. And it's right. If you can offer those services for medical and dental, it's a huge asset. I used to, my previous life, I'm a CIP, a chartered insurance professional. I worked with Boiler Machinery Insurance. And one of the reasons I stayed as long as I did is because it was a huge benefit to have those coverages for my family. So yeah. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree with all the other participants, and again, want to thank them for joining us today.
Awesome. Nicola, 2 minutes, summarize. And do you agree or disagree with some of the things that were said?
No, I wholeheartedly agree with everybody, what everyone said. I mean, it's interesting that, you know, we're all in the financial services, but we all do different, key in on different, you know, markets, and target different markets and stuff like that, but we can all work together and be beneficial for everybody. One of the things that I know none of us really mentioned too was about pension plans and group RSP plans and things like that. Again, that's another thing that is out there to offer to your employees, again, for retention. And one of the biggest things that Canadians aren't doing is saving for retirement. Business owners, I'm sure Scott can help and Karen can help with this with regards to have a succession plan, and even you, Steve, with succession planning for your business, that is a key, and I think very important too, that business owners have to look out 5 years prior to, you know, they're coming to retirement. What are they going to do with their business that they've worked so hard to build up and over time? And I mean, that's probably a whole new topic that can be talked about, succession planning for your businesses and stuff too. So just yeah, no, this was a great session. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Scott, 2 minutes. Do you agree, disagree? What's your
Sure.
summary of everything?
You're all nuts. Never mind. No, actually, it was obviously the 5 of us came together as tips and coming from different angles. Then it's hard to rebut anything in there. And not that I would anyway. And it's funny, Nicola brought up the succession planning. I mean, actually, isn't there a TV show called Succession now? I keep hearing a bunch of people talk about it. I don't know if it has anything to do with what we do, but but I suddenly got my interest anyway. But yeah, no, you know, it was funny because we do come at it from different angles, and of course, I think Anna Marie already mentioned there about Karen just kind of, I guess, disturbing all of us to the degree that, you know, this is, you know, the ironclad bookkeeping. You can see my table right now. I should turn around. Anyway, it's a mess. But so is the console in my truck. So is, you know, everything, right? And so yeah, yeah, I don't know what else I can add. That was awesome. I thought it was a great session. And I hope everybody here that didn't speak got value out of it.
Yeah, this really shows the power of the group. So, you know, I brought up the power of association, surrounding yourself with professionals. Scott talked about incorporating even before you're ready. And he listed off 6 reasons to incorporate. Totally agree with that. Something I wish I did earlier. Nicola talked about getting a flexible group plan for your team. It's going to keep them. You're going to find the right people, and it's going to help you retain them. So true. What's the word coming up? Where a bunch of people are going to quit is just coming around the corner here. I forget the exact term for it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but you want to be able to keep your star players, right? Karen Chassé talked about the ironclad record keeping. I'm like Scott on this. I've got receipts out of my yin yang. I'm going to do that. I'm going to download that app almost first thing once I get off this call. And Anna Marie talked about being open to change and diversification. Is there anybody on this call that would like to add one more tip to their success, why they became successful? Or is there